Chapter 379. If you didn't stop me, you wouldn't have died. This is retribution. Now, let's all die together. Extreme Chaos Mist Blade, explode. Gao Qianhe, who was determined to die, detonated his Jin Yuan, destroying his meridians and dislocating his internal organs. All of this made his attack even more powerful than when he was fighting with Feng Yanrou. Dozens of whip shadows exploded crazily, riddling the void with thousands of holes. Sorry. Feng Yanrou's face was full of guilt. If Yichen died, she would have to bear the biggest responsibility. Unsheathing his destruction sword, Yichen said with an indifferent tone, "Miss Feng, it shouldn't be a problem for me to kill him, right?" Yichen's voice was transmitted almost instantaneously. At this moment, the closest whip shadow was less than a foot away from Yichen. It was a matter of life and death. His tone made Feng Yanrou and Gao Qianhe dazed for a moment. What was he thinking? At this moment, Feng Yanrou didn't have time to answer. However, Yichen took it as her silence. Puff! The shadow was pierced through. Feng Yanrou was about to cry out in alarm when she discovered that it was only an afterimage. Soon, more afterimages exploded like a flood, pouring down on Gao Qianhe. The afterimages shattered one after another, but she still couldn't see Yichen's real body. Suddenly, a sword light flickered in the void. The blue-robed Yichen appeared in front of Gao Qianhe at an unknown time. The destruction sword in his hand trembled and pierced out. Shoo! The sword tip pierced through Gao Qianhe's protective Jin Yuan and pierced through his throat, coming out from the back of his neck. A strand of blood flew in the air. An extreme astral reaching expert had died under Yichen's sword. However, this sword was just an ordinary one. There were no tricks or mysteries. If one had to describe it, it would be that it was extremely fast. It was so fast that Gao Qianhe had no time to block or react. When the sword arrived, he died. As the sword was pulled out, blood splashed out. Gao Qianhe pointed his finger at Yichen, his eyes wide open. He seemed to want to say something, but because his throat was damaged, he couldn't say anything. Even at the moment of death, he didn't know what had happened. A sword artist who was only a bit troublesome in his eyes had killed him with one sword. Only at the moment of the sword attack did he realize how sharp it was. Maintaining the posture of death, Gao Qianhe fell on his back. What? Feng Yanrou finally blurted out the words that had been brewing in her throat. However, the words that came out were not the words that she wanted to say. It was too shocking. Just like Gao Qianhe, she believed that Yichen was a slightly more powerful sword artist, roughly at the level of peak astral reaching experts. He would be able to exchange a couple of attacks with extreme astral reaching experts, but he would definitely not be able to block an all-out attack from an extreme astral reaching expert. After all, extreme astral reaching experts were already the limit of astral reaching experts. If one wanted to surpass this limit, one would have to reach the Sea of Soul Realm or have an upper-grade artifact. However, reaching the Sea of Soul Realm was easier said than done. Her talent and comprehension were definitely at the top of the Misty Snow region. However, the sect leader had also said that she would not have the slightest chance of reaching the Sea of Soul Realm within 5 years. No matter how many miracles she had, no matter what kind of enlightenment she had, she would not be able to reach the Sea of Soul Realm within 5 years. Not everyone could become an existence like Xianhou. Otherwise, she would not have been the scariest genius of the true spirit continent in the past 1,000 years. However, an upper-grade artifact was not that easy to obtain. Apart from the rank 6 sects, there were very few of them circulating in the outside world. Moreover, they were mostly in some unknown ancient ruins, which were extremely dangerous. Even Sea of Soul Realm experts would face life-threatening dangers if they entered, not to mention astral-reaching experts. Plus, even if one had an upper-grade artifact, it would be hard to keep it. Everyone understood the concept of possessing a treasure will arouse the suspicion of others. Sea of Soul Realm experts would not mind killing an astral-reaching expert and taking his upper-grade artifact. Therefore, those who had an upper-grade artifact would either be a Sea of Soul realm expert or be extremely well hidden, not daring to reveal it. Even Feng Yenro herself did not have an upper-grade artifact. It was not that her sect did not want to give it to her, but that they did not want to bring her danger. Rank 6 sects were not enough to scare some lone Sea of Soul realm experts. Not to mention a disciple of a rank 6 sect, even if you were a child of a rank 6 sect leader, they would still dare to kill you for your treasures. If an extreme astral reaching expert had an upper-grade artifact, then he would be an invincible astral reaching expert, which was publicly acknowledged by the entire True Spirit continent. Unfortunately, invincible astral reaching experts were even rarer than life and death kings. No, they were not even half of the life and death kings. Moreover, they were all unknown, hidden in the deepest corners of the continent. Only when faced with life and death situations would they be exposed. Only then did the world know that he was an extreme astral reaching expert with an upper-grade artifact. Without a doubt, Gao Qianhe was an extreme astral reaching expert. Although he was just an ordinary person, under his last desperate attack, even the powerful extreme astral reaching experts would have to retreat 3 feet. Yi Chen's previous performance was not that amazing, only his movement art was outstanding. However, when Yi Chen unsheathed his sword and was about to kill, Feng Yenro finally saw his sharpness, the kind of sharpness that could take away one's soul with one sword. One sword. Merely one sword. Feng Yenro had chased after Gao Qianhe for 3 months, leaving her with no way to deal with him, but in the end, he was killed cleanly and cleanly. One sword to the throat, without any power to fight back. What an amazing sword Dao genius. I was a bit too complacent before. I wonder if he is a sword Dao genius from the Thunder region or some other region. Feng Yenro had already regarded Yi Chen as a genius of the same level. It was not that she underestimated him, but rather that she had given him a very high evaluation. Gao Qianhe's last desperate attack was indeed powerful, but in the eyes of sword artists, it was actually more of a flaw. And for a sword artist, if they did not grasp the opportunity to strike a flaw, then they were not qualified to be a sword artist. Therefore, killing Gao Qianhe with one sword strike was something Feng Yenro could also do. However, she had previously thought that Yi Chen was a peak astral reaching expert, which was why she was so surprised. As for which region Yi Chen was a sword Dao genius, Feng Yenro did not think about the nearest South Rudra region. She did not think that South Rudra region, which had not had a life and death king for hundreds of years, could give birth to such a powerful sword genius. South Rudra region had started to decline 1,000 years ago. It could only be the Thunder region or some other region. Shaking off the blood on the destruction sword and putting it back into its scabbard, Yi Chen turned around and said to Feng Yenro, "Sorry, it was too convenient." Actually, with Yi Chen's strength, he could have easily blocked Gao Qianhe's last desperate attack. However, after being trapped in the bewilderment fog forbidden zone for almost half a year, and going through 4 months of despair and near collapse, Yi Chen's evil aura had not dissipated yet. Earlier, he did not ask about the cause of the matter, so he did not do anything to Gao Qianhe. He only stopped him. But now that he was about to kill him, his evil aura suddenly erupted, and he casually killed Gao Qianhe, venting out the 4 months of depression. After killing Gao Qianhe, Yi Chen felt a lot more relaxed. Feng Yenro shook her head, "No, if you did not kill him, he would have killed you. I haven't even thanked you yet. How could I blame you?" Not being able to kill Gao Qianhe herself, Feng Yenro was indeed a bit disappointed. However, now that he was dead, her mood was also a lot more relaxed. Yi Chen chuckled and asked, "Are you from the Misty Snow region?" "Yeah, I am a disciple of the Misty Snow Martial School." "Are you from the Thunder region?" Feng Yenro asked back. "No, I am from the South Rudra region." South Rudra region. Feng Yenro was a bit surprised. She had never heard of any noteworthy martial genius in the South Rudra region. Only Xikong Sheng was famous. Of course, her understanding of the South Rudra region was still a couple of years ago. Back then, Sikong Sheng was only a peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm martial artist, while she had already reached the astral-reaching realm. She believed that after a couple of years, Sikong Sheng would not be that bad. He would definitely reach the astral-reaching realm, and would be ranked in the top 20 or even top 10 in the Misty Snow region. What? Is there something wrong? Feng Yanro shook her head. Then, in the last hidden dragon rank, you should have beaten Sikong Sheng. Yes, he was very powerful. I had to spend a lot of effort to beat him. Now that he has gone to another region, he should have improved a lot. Yi Chen had never underestimated anyone. Sikong Sheng, Yan Qihua, Murong Qingcheng, Li Daoxian, Tua Baku, and Bing Ling were all his competitors. Being in the lead for a while did not mean being in the lead for a lifetime. The meaning of martial geniuses was that you would never know when they would explode. Once they did, it would be extremely horrifying. Xianhou had also been quiet for a while. But, when she exploded, it shocked the whole continent. While looking down on others, they were also looking down on themselves. Although some martial geniuses were arrogant, it did not mean that they had no achievements. Even among the legendary life and death realm warriors, there were a lot of arrogant people who had such personalities. Therefore, personality was just personality. As long as one worked hard and persevered, then no matter who one was, one would be able to create his or her own glory. Even the evil ones were the same. Feng Yanro did not dwell on this topic. I have to thank you for killing Gao Qianhe this time. I have been chasing him for 3 months. Now, I have to go back to the snowy palace. Oh right, what is your name? She had already told Yi Chen her name. Yi Chen. Yi Chen, I will remember you. See you in the future. Shoo. The cold aura gradually disappeared as Feng Yanro flew into the distance. Soon, she disappeared into the horizon. Taking back his gaze, Yi Chen sighed. The South Rudra region had been weak for a long time. Not many people in the outside world valued the South Rudra region, thinking that it would continue to decline. But, everything was different now. As the current number 1 martial genius of the South Rudra region, he would naturally improve. Those martial geniuses who were below him would also set him as their goal and try to catch up. Within 3 to 5 years, the situation of the South Rudra region would change. If I want to change the competitive environment, it is actually very simple. I only need an even more powerful leader. I will take this position for now. For the current Yi Chen, modesty was already meaningless. As the leader of the South Rudra region, he naturally had to have this kind of bearing. Looking back at the fog-shrouded forbidden area, Yi Chen bitterly smiled. He would not enter it again within 3 to 5 years. This place could torture people to the point of insanity. If one was unlucky, it would be normal to be trapped for several years. Fortunately, he had come out. Shoo! Turning into a beam of light, Yi Chen broke through the clouds and flew above, heading toward the South Rudra region. In a couple of cities near the Star Region Lake in the South Rudra region, people were still talking about Yi Chen. A martial genius had been trapped in the bewildering fog-forbidden area for almost half a year. Without any surprises, Yi Chen would not be able to come back until he reached the Sea of Souls realm. And, reaching the Sea of Souls realm was not something that could be done overnight. Xianhou had only reached the Sea of Souls realm when she was 25 years old, which had already broken the 1,000-year record of the true spirit continent. Yi Chen was currently 20 years old. Even if his talent was at the same level as Xuanhou's, he would still need another 5 years. Within 5 years, there would be no more Yi Chen in the South Rudra region. Chapter 380. The Black Dragon Empire's lakeside city, the Sky Star City, was less than 10 miles away from the Star Regional Lake. In this city with a population of more than 10 million, there was a top-notch restaurant called the 9-Star White Jade Restaurant. The 9-Star White Jade Restaurant had 9 floors, and each floor was more luxurious than the previous one. The walls were covered with extremely valuable white jade, which was inlaid with gold. It was a unique restaurant in the entire Black Dragon Empire. On the 7th floor of the restaurant, countless astral-reaching realm warriors were sitting in the lobby, chatting with each other. Everyone, stop guessing. I think, within 5 years, Yi Chen will not be able to walk out of the Forbidden Fog Zone. Perhaps, he will be trapped in there until he dies. The speaker was a middle-aged man with a square face and a big nose. His cultivation was not weak, being at the late astral-reaching realm. He was very famous in the Sky Star City. Half a year ago, after Shen Tujue had said that Yi Chen had been trapped in the Forbidden Fog Zone, the news had spread out in the whole South Rudra region at an unbelievable speed. As a result, all the astral-reaching realm warriors had used Yi Chen as the topic of conversation, since this martial genius had left too deep of an impression on everyone. In the Hidden Dragon rank competition, he had won all the battles and made it all the way to the finals. Then, out of everyone's expectation, he had beaten Xikong Sheng, the king of the young generation in the South Rudra region. Not only that, it had been more than 2 years since the Hidden Dragon rank competition had ended, and he had beaten all the other warriors again, becoming an extreme astral-reaching realm warrior. He had killed the white-boned ghost warrior from the 9 ghost cult in the Blood Demon battlefield, and had also escaped from the 4 extreme astral-reaching realm warriors. Indeed, the chances of him coming out are very small. And even if he does, it won't be a good thing. He killed Daoist Jin Huang, a core elder of the Floating Mountain sect, and Ghost General Whitebone. The remnants of the Floating Mountain sect and the 9 evil cult won't let him go. It is said that Shen Tujue's strength is even above that of Heartless sect's Pei Yudao. He has already condensed a martial soul embryo, and can be considered a first-rate existence among extreme astral-reaching realm experts. The remnants of the 9 ghost cult are also not to be underestimated. There are 2 other ghost generals on the same level as White-Boned Ghost General, especially the number 1, 5 Poison Ghost General. His whole body is filled with poison, and the breath he exhales can poison a village to death. Fighting with him will unknowingly poison you. Even if the poison is not deep, your strength will be greatly reduced, and you will be at the mercy of others. This Yi Chen's ability to stir up trouble can be considered one of a kind. What kind of people did he mess with? The Floating Mountain sect, the remnants of the 9 evil cult. Any one of them can play us in the palm of their hands. Those who were able to sit on the 7th floor of the 9-star White Jade Tower were all astral-reaching realm warriors, but they were only normal beings. The most powerful among them were only late astral-reaching realm warriors, not to mention the top and extreme realms. If an extreme astral-reaching realm warrior were to slap over, a lot of them would be killed. Dang dang dang, footsteps were heard from the stairs. They were very light, but everyone could hear them, and couldn't help but look over. After 3 breaths, a young man appeared in everyone's sight. He was dressed in blue, with a long sword hanging on his waist. His black hair was tied up in a simple way, and he had a handsome face. His eyes were gentle like jade. He was not a peerless beauty, but he was still a top talent. If it was not Yi Chen, who else could it be? After traveling for hundreds of thousands of miles, the first city that Yi Chen arrived at was the Sky Star City, which was the closest city to the Star Regional Lake, less than 10 miles away. On the way, Yi Chen had already thought about it. He knew that it would be impossible to hide the fact that he had left the Forbidden Zone, because he was not a nameless person. There would definitely be people who knew him. As for why he was able to leave the Forbidden Zone and the consequences of leaving with his astral-reaching realm cultivation base, he had already thought about it. After all, the iron rule of the Forbidden Zone had been broken, which was way too shocking. It would be impossible for it to not cause a commotion. Therefore, he decided to make a strong comeback and then create a fake image to tell the world that he had not gone deep into the Forbidden Zone. And, the fake image would be broken one day, but it would not come too soon. When that day came, Yi Chen was confident that he would have enough power to protect himself. Above the 7th floor of the 9-star White Jade Tower, only astral-reaching realm warriors had the right to come up. There were a lot of astral-reaching realm warriors who knew Yi Chen. Therefore, Yichen decided to go to the 9-star White Jade Tower first, using them to tell everyone in the South Rudra region that he was back. Oh my god! It is Yichen. Indeed, on the 7th floor, there were two people who recognized Yichen. They had both been to the Hidden Dragon ancient city to watch the competitions, so Yichen's image had been imprinted in their minds for a long time. What? Are you sure? Why would I lie to you? He is indeed Yichen. I cannot believe it. He has walked out of the Forbidden Zone without any injuries. This is unbelievable. What the hell? The middle-aged man who had said that Yichen would not be able to leave the Forbidden Zone in the next 5 years was shocked, as if he had just seen a ghost. Yichen smiled lightly as he found a seat near the window and sat down. He had heard all of the whispers from the crowd. Should we say hi to him? I heard that Yichen is quite easy to talk to. Yeah, I have never heard of his scandals. Let's go together. The two who had recognized Yichen stood up and walked towards Yichen. Warrior Yi, I have heard a lot about you. The two cupped their fists, showing great respect. Yichen reached out his hand. Sit. This Yichen is really easy to talk to. He even invited us to sit down. What a great honor. The two showed joy on their faces as they sat down with even more respect. One of them asked the waiter to prepare the best dishes and wine. Warrior Yi, we have admired you for a long time. Today, we can finally sit down with you to eat and drink. Life is so happy. The middle-aged man on the left with a black mole said heartily. Yichen smiled. The meaning of life is to do what you like. It is boring to drink alone. I, Yichen, will not refuse anyone. Hee, great. Seeing the three chatting happily, the others on the 7th floor were jealous. At the same time, they regretted that they didn't think of talking to Yichen. Otherwise, they would be the ones sitting there. Warrior Yi, I have admired you for a long time. A man nearby couldn't help but stand up and say shamelessly. Yichen didn't embarrass him and invited him to sit down and drink with him. Warrior Yi. Warrior Yi. Seeing this, the others stood up one after another, wanting to get close to Yichen. Being able to eat and drink with the most talented martial geniuses of the South Rudra region in hundreds or even thousands of years would be a great thing indeed. In the future, if Yichen could step into the higher realms, then he would be even more proud. At least, he would be able to tell his descendants, son, back in the day, I, your father, had a drink with Yichen and chatted with him. You are still far away from that. There were too many people. Yichen laughed as he put all the tables on the 7th floor together, creating a huge table that was 10 meters long on each side. Everyone gathered at the table and started to drink. Warrior Yi, that Forbidden Zone is known as the place where astral-reaching realm warriors don't return. How did you get out? Let us see. Yeah. Warrior Yi, the news of you getting out will spread throughout the Black Dragon Empire in less than half a month. Within a month, the whole South Rudra region will know about it. Yichen drank a mouthful of wine and said, actually, I didn't even go deep into the Forbidden Zone. Therefore, I got out 5 months ago and have been healing my wounds. You know, being chased by 4 extreme astral-reaching realm warriors, it would be impossible for me to not be wounded at all. You didn't go deep into the Forbidden Zone. Everyone suddenly realized that Yichen had not gone deep into the Forbidden Zone. As for being wounded, it would be normal. It would be weird if he did not get wounded at all. Being chased by 4 extreme astral-reaching realm warriors was not a joke. Yichen being able to escape successfully was already enough to prove his power. If it were any other normal extreme astral-reaching realm warrior, there would be a huge chance for him to die. Thinking about it, Yichen had been hiding for 5 months to heal his wounds. Powerful warriors were not the same as weak ones. Powerful warriors had a strong life force and would not die easily, but it would be extremely hard for them to heal their bodies. Especially the wounds caused by some of the ace attacks, which would affect the mental state. Congratulations on your safe return. Let me propose a toast to you. A toast to young hero Yi as well. The banquet lasted until late at night before it ended. In the guest room of the restaurant, Yi Chen sat on the bed with his legs crossed. The 4 months of searching for the way out of the Forbidden Zone had a huge impact on Yi Chen. Seriously speaking, it was even more than the challenge from the Dual Sword King and the Iron Sword King statues. Mentality. What was the mentality? It was actually a person's inner world. To put it simply, it was the inner heart. Being strong on the outside was not true strength. Being strong on the inside was the strength that came from the inside out. It was a strength that could not be crushed, a strength that could break through fate. The boring journey of 4 months and 7 days had raised Yi Chen's mentality to a frightening level. On average, he had to use his soul power 180,000 times a day, which would be more than 20 million times in 4 months and 7 days. If it were any other astral reaching expert, they would have long since gone crazy or collapsed. Or, they would have directly given up and not stepped into the Sea of Soul Realm, not planning to leave the Forbidden Zone. Even Sea of Soul Realm experts did not have the same perseverance as Yi Chen. Repeating the same thing for 4 months and 7 days, repeating it 180,000 times a day. Just thinking about it would make one shiver in fear. However, this was not the most frightening thing. What was frightening was that Yi Chen didn't know when he would be able to leave the Forbidden Zone. Perhaps it would be a few months, or perhaps it would be a few years. Everything was unknown. Who could stand up again and again in the midst of disappointment and loss of confidence, and defeat themselves? Yi Chen's experience in these 4 months and 7 days contained the setbacks of several lifetimes of others. Of course, the harvest of defeating oneself time and time again was bountiful, far beyond one's imagination. With a powerful mental state, Yi Chen's sword will became even more indestructible and unshakable. Every strand of will was exceptionally pure. It would not be an exaggeration to say that within the same realm of sword will, no one would be his opponent. His current sword will was more or less the same as an ordinary Sea of Soul Realm sword artist. In terms of power, even ordinary Sea of Soul Realm sword artists would not be his opponent, and ordinary Sea of Soul Realm martial artists would be thrown into the air by him. They could not be compared at all. Above his Sea of Soul, a 3-finger-long ancient longsword blossomed with specks of silver radiance. These specks of silver radiance were the radiance of will. From Battle King's sword Dao knowledge, Yi Chen knew that within the Sea of Soul Realm, only Sea of Soul Realm masters will could emit radiance. Below Sea of Soul Realm, powerful Sea of Soul Realm sword artists could occasionally do it. However, Yi Chen had done it at the astral reaching realm. Once the radiance appears, the will is almost indestructible. Yi Chen sucked in a deep breath, his pupils emitting a soul-stirring light. Chapter 381. In the next half a month, Yi Chen had been training in the 9-star White Jade Tower. He had already used more than half of the hundreds of top-rank soul stones he had gotten from the black-robed elder, which had increased his cultivation to the next level. His Zhen Yuan was getting richer and richer. Do not underestimate the small gap between the peak-level late astral reaching realm and the late astral reaching realm. The amount of Zhen Yuan needed to accumulate would be shocking. No matter how talented you were, you would have to train honestly. Of course, it was not that there were no shortcuts, but they were too hard to find. For example, the rare spirit plants and the priceless top pellets could allow a late astral reaching realm warrior to reach the peak level instantly. Or, a Seas of Souls realm warrior could use his or her power to help you. No rush. With my battling power, I am almost invincible among the astral reaching realm warriors. I can take my time with my cultivation. Even if I reach the peak level late astral reaching realm, it would still be a long process for me to reach the Seas of Souls realm. It would take at least 3 to 5 years, and at most 8 to 10 years. It would all be possible. The challenge between the astral reaching realm and the Seas of Souls realm is called the Mortal Transcension Challenge. It is not without reason. The Mortal Transcension Challenge, as the name suggested, would allow the warrior to leave the mortal body and be able to do whatever he wanted. Therefore, the warriors who managed to reach the seas of Soul's realm would be called powerful warriors. The sky was getting brighter, and the oil lamp that was covered by a layer of glass was still shining with a dim light. Opening his eyes, Yi-Chen pressed his finger in the air. Pooh! The glass did not shatter, and the light went out. After washing up a bit, Yi-Chen opened the door and walked towards the lobby on the 7th floor. There were twice as many astral-reaching realm warriors in the lobby compared to half a month ago. Part of the reason was because Yi-Chen was living here, and a lot of astral-reaching realm warriors wanted to make friends with him. Another reason was that the new Hidden Dragon rank competition had just ended, and the people who had gone to the Hidden Dragon ancient city to watch the competition had all returned. Although this year's Hidden Dragon rank competition was not as good as the last one, there were still a lot of top martial geniuses. The first place was a disciple from the Floating Mountain Martial School, the descendant of the Stone King, Gu Yuyun. The second place was Qian Yun from the Sunset Martial School. As for the martial school that Yi-Chen was in, it had a lot of top martial geniuses. There were 3 people who made it into the top 72, and the most talented one among them was Zhang Haoren. I heard that he was a martial genius from the same generation as Yi-Chen, but Yi-Chen had caught up to him. Besides that, there were also a lot of core disciples from the Sky Cloud Martial School who almost made it into the top 72, which made all the leaders of the other martial schools have their eyes wide open. With a genius leader like Yi-Chen in the Sky Cloud Martial School, it would be hard for the disciples to not remember him. Yi-Chen School was a top. Yi Star. Martial Genius Leader, Yi Martial of Yi. Of course it's true. These days, we often drink and chat together, and occasionally exchange martial arts experiences. Don't be fooled by his young age, his understanding is much deeper than mine. Many things have been enlightened by his advice. In the past, our strength was equal, but now it might not necessarily be as good as mine. Hee, who doesn't know how to brag? If there's a chance, let's exchange some pointers. Of course. While everyone was talking, Yi-Chen arrived at the lobby. Young Hero Yi is here. Young Hero Yi, you're really here. It seems that I've come to the right place. The newly arrived astral-reaching realm warriors all cupped their fists towards Yi-Chen. Yi-Chen had heard their conversation before, and had some understanding of the situation of the Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples. Zhang Haoren's rise was expected. Back in the day, among the disciples of the same generation, only Zhang Haoren could compete with him. 5 to 6 years had passed, and he should be at the peak level late class Bing Yuan realm, not far from the astral reaching realm. As for Su Jing, who was not even 24 years old and did not participate in the competition, Yi-Chen had a feeling that she had already reached the astral reaching realm. Su Jing's path was different from most of the other martial artists. She mainly trained Qi power, which was the opposite of Zhen Yuan. Zhen Yuan was stored in the Dantian, through the meridians of the whole body, while Qi power was stored in the blood, flesh, and bone marrow. Every part of the human body was a Qi power path. There was no limit to it. Training Qi power was the super version of body training. When normal people trained their bodies, they would be able to strengthen their bodies, which would allow them to have hundreds or even thousands of pounds of power. However, it would not turn into Qi power. The early stage of body training was similar to body training, it would also strengthen the body and increase the power. In the later stages, one would be able to squeeze out physical power from the body, which would be Qi power. Qi power did not have as many uses as Zhen Yuan, but in terms of aggressiveness, it was way more powerful than Zhen Yuan. It was truly unbreakable. When fighting against the warriors who trained Qi power, one should never get too close to them. Otherwise, one would die a horrible death. The defense that one was so proud of would be as fragile as a piece of tofu in front of them. There was another big difference between training Qi power and body training, which was that it could not be seen from the outside. For example, Su Jing's chi power was definitely one of the best in the whole South Rudra region. However, she still looked like a young girl with a beautiful body. Her arms were very slim, but these slim arms could easily kill a demonic beast at the same level. Of course, it would still be easy to tell if a warrior who trained chi power met another warrior who trained chi power. For the warriors who trained chi power, because their chi power was too powerful, their essence chi would be like smoke, and their blood chi would be rolling. Therefore, the chi power of the warriors who trained chi power would definitely be able to sense each other. Although Yi Chen's chi power was not as powerful as Su Jing's, he was still a little bit better. Plus, his soul power was the only one at the astral reaching realm, so he was very sensitive to everything. Meeting with Su Jing again, he should be able to tell her current power. While drinking with the crowd, Yi Chen asked about what had happened in the hidden dragon rank that was worth paying attention to. There seems to be one. The Prince of the Black Dragon Empire, who was ranked 3rd in the Hidden Dragon rank competition, had come to watch this year's Hidden Dragon rank competition. The Prince of the Black Dragon Empire. Yi Chen nodded. He knew this man. Xikong Sheng had participated in 3 Hidden Dragon rank competitions, and he was ranked 1st in the second one. The second one was Yan Qihua, and the third one was the Prince of the Black Dragon Empire. He was already 23 years old back then, and after 6 years, he should be 29 years old now, which was a lot older than the current young generation. No one had expected that after hiding for 6 years, the Prince of the Black Dragon Empire would come out with a peak-level late astral reaching realm cultivation. It had shocked everyone. Yeah, even I was shocked at that time. Yi Chen did not care too much about it, and asked, what did the Prince of the Black Dragon Empire do there? Recruiting talents. I heard that he had already recruited a bunch of people, including a couple of top-ranked martial geniuses. This year's champion Gu Yuyun and Qian Yun had both been recruited by him. Zhang Haoren from Yi Warriors Martial School was also one of them. I wonder if he had accepted. Recruiting talents. This prince is really calculating. Yi Chen knew that those who were able to make it into the top 72 of the Hidden Dragon rank were all people with great luck. Recruiting them into the royal family of the Black Dragon Empire would be able to gather a lot of luck for the royal family. Even if it did not work out, when these martial geniuses grew up, they would be able to become the guardians of the Black Dragon Empire. Of course, in the South Rudra region, only the royal families of the top 3 countries would dare to do this, since the 3 royal families were even more powerful than the rank 6 martial institutions. Soon, it was already the afternoon. On the street, a group of 6 people walked slowly. Prince, we are here. Among the 6 people, 5 of them were elders, all wearing black long robes with golden threads. One of them had a golden flower embroidered on his chest. The elder with the flower said to the tall young man who was half a step in front of him. The young man was more than 190 centimeters tall. He was quite handsome, and there was a black dragon embroidered on his black robe. The eyes of the black dragon were golden, which added a bit of aura to the young man. He said lightly, as expected, Yi Chen should be in the 9-star White Jade restaurant. I wonder if he will accept my invitation. Ha! If he does not know how to appreciate favors, then teach him a lesson. The one who spoke was a muscular elder with a face full of evil. The leading elder in black rubbed his chin, don't underestimate him. He was able to escape from 4 extreme astral reaching realm warriors, so his power is definitely not normal. Of course, there is no need to be afraid. Yan Beidao, wait for the prince to speak. Don't be reckless, in case you ruin the prince's plan. Yan Beidao's power was second only to him. His blade arts were shocking, but unfortunately, he was too evil, and could easily kill people. Don't worry, I know what to do. Arriving at the entrance of the 9-star White Jade restaurant, the waiter who welcomed the guests was shocked when he saw the 6 people's clothes. He immediately recognized them and bowed before leading them inside. Then, the manager of the White Jade restaurant personally welcomed them, his face full of smiles. Is Yu-Chin staying in the 9-star White Jade restaurant? The leading elder in black asked. The manager hesitated a bit, then nodded. Young warrior Yi has been staying in the 9-star White Jade restaurant for half a month. It is on the 7th floor. Alright, you go do what you need to do. We will go up by ourselves. On the 7th floor, Yu-Chen and the others were drinking. Seeing the prince and the other 5 walk up, his brows slightly creased. He felt that they had come for him. Although the prince had never seen Yu-Chen before, he had seen Yu-Chen's portrait. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Brother Yi is so free and unfettered. I heard that you made it out of the bewilderment fog forbidden zone. I didn't dare to believe it before, but now I do. Yu-Chen said, I was lucky. Why is the prince here? Just now, someone had already told him the prince's identity. The prince waved his hand, signaling the others to make way. He sat in front of Yu-Chen and went straight to the point. This time, I have come for no other reason than to hope that Brother Yi can become my personal guard. I can give you the position of personal guard captain. Moreover, I will also help you resolve the grudge between you and the Floating Mountain School. What do you think? After saying these words, the prince's gaze became clear as he looked straight at Yu-Chen. Yu-Chen's brows twitched. Among the 6, there were 3 extreme astral reaching experts. One of them was the black-robed old man, another was a robust old man, and the last one was actually the prince of the Black Dragon Empire. However, with his talent and comprehensive ability, becoming an extreme astral reaching expert at the age of 28 or 29 was not out of the question. It was common knowledge that between 25 and 35 was the peak period of a human's body. This was the period where one's progress was the fastest. Xianhou had entered the Sea of Souls realm at the age of 25, and the Life and Death realm at the age of 35. Therefore, the prince's strength did not surprise Yu-Chen too much. He was a famous genius of this generation, and his strength would not be inferior to the prince at the age of 28 or 29. Moreover, with a genius leader like Yu-Chen, the pressure on the later geniuses would be even greater. It was very likely that they would reach this realm earlier, or even surpass it, leading the South Rudra region to the peak. Sorry, I can't agree. Yu-Chen's expression was indifferent as he drank a mouthful of wine. The prince faintly smiled, his gaze faintly carrying an oppressive feeling as he smiled. Brother Yi, why don't you reconsider? Becoming my personal guard will only bring you benefits. There are no disadvantages. You're wrong. Becoming your personal guard is the biggest disadvantage. Yu-Chen did not feel any restraint or pressure as he casually said. Impudent. I've given you some color, and you want to open a dye shop. If you don't agree, then ask my blade. Yan Beidao could not help but reprimand him. He was not afraid of the prince's displeasure. In fact, this time, inviting Yu-Chen to become the prince's personal guard was only one of his goals. If the latter did not agree, then he would move on to the second goal. Therefore, the prince was overbearing from the start. If Yu-Chen agreed, then it would be best. Otherwise, his trip would not be in vain. Chapter 382. The Crown Prince didn't stop Yan Beidao. Admittedly, he had come this time with the intention of inviting Yu-Chen to become his personal guard. However, he knew that Yu-Chen wasn't a sword artist willing to be under someone else's command. Therefore, he had long since prepared himself for rejection. Moreover, Yan Beidao was the #1 astral-reaching blade artist of the Black Dragon Empire's royal family. His ruthless aura was extremely frightening. With him provoking Yu-Chen, he should be able to see something. Of course, if Yu-Chen were to lose at his hands, that would be even better. Since he couldn't obtain a genius, he might as well destroy him in advance. Yu-Chen glared at him. Who the hell are you? Hearing these words, the astral-reaching experts on the 7th floor opened their mouths wide. As the saying goes, one must look at the owner before beating a dog. Yu-Chen's first words almost made them spurt out the wine they had just drunk. As for the Crown Prince, his complexion suddenly turned gloomy. The wine cup in his hand exploded with a bang, and the wine and fragments evaporated into a light blue mist. "I'll skin you alive." Yen Beidao's face was flushed with blood, and his breathing accelerated. Everyone could clearly see the blue veins on his thick neck bulging like cyan earthworms. With a roar, ruthless aura erupted, filling the berserk blade aura. Yen Beidao chopped at Yi Chen with a palm blade. The energy of this palm was restrained, and it was extremely fast and berserk. With a wave of his hand, the edge of the palm was like a bold and decisive blade, cleaving the void and heading straight for Yi Chen's face. He was fast, but Yi Chen was even faster. A green lotus blossomed, and Yi Chen's sword finger pointed at the edge of Yen Beidao's palm. Ka la la. The hard floorboards under his feet were plowed through. Yen Beidao's feet rubbed against the ground as he flew upward like a meteor. He smashed a huge hole in the wall of the 9-star White Jade Tower's 7th floor and flew backward for 3 to 4 miles. Along the way, everything he encountered exploded. After 3 to 4 li, Yen Beidao staggered in the air, spurting out a mouthful of blood. On the other hand, Yi Chen's face wasn't red, and he wasn't out of breath. The chair beneath him also didn't shatter. Is this the strength of the genius leader of South Rudra region? How terrifying! With a single finger, he sent the other party flying 3 to 4 miles away without the slightest bit of resistance. Although everyone had heard that Yi Chen had suppressed the White Bone Ghost General, one of the 3 strongest ghost generals of the 9 Ghost Cult, causing him to die a miserable death in the mouth of the Blood Evil Beast, and had exchanged a few moves with Shintuju without falling into a disadvantageous position, and then escaped from the hands of 4 extreme astral reaching experts with great difficulty, they had never seen it with their own eyes. They thought that it was an exaggeration, and that there was some hidden story behind it. At this moment, no one thought this way anymore. Yi Chen's strength was even more powerful than they had imagined. This Yen Beidao was, after all, an expert under the Crown Prince, yet he couldn't even take one move. The eldest Imperial Prince's expression was exceptionally grave. The others might not know, but how could he not know? Yen Beidao was an extreme astral reaching expert. Even if he couldn't compare to the head of the 7 blade artists, the white-robed blade artist, he wasn't too far off. Coupled with that crazy evil chi, even those with a higher strength might not necessarily be able to suppress him. His strength is above that of the white-robed bladesman, comparable to Pei Yudao. Thinking of this, the eldest Imperial Prince sent a Zhen Yuan transmission to Yen Beidao, who was several li away. "Beidao, take out your weapon and go all out. Help me probe his bottom line. I must kill him." Without the eldest Imperial Prince's words, a radiance flickered in Yen Beidao's hand, and a 1.5 meter long blade with an extremely thick back appeared out of thin air. With the blade in hand, Yen Beidao's blade aura rose again and again, distorting and rupturing the void. Sent flying by Yi Chen's finger, Yen Beidao lost all his face. He had used 70% of his strength at most in that palm strike. Wishful thinking, he believed that Yi Chen had used 90% or even 100% of his strength. At this moment, he held a peak mid-grade blade in his hand, and his battle power could be displayed to its peak. His eyes were bloodshot as he pointed at Yi Chen with his left hand and roared, "Despicable villain, come out and fight. Why bother? I can deal with you right here." Yi Chen sneered. His fingers, as if playing a pipa, shot out one sharp Zhen Yuan after another. The Zhen Yuan took form and gave birth to many long swords, piercing through the void. Dang 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 dang, Yen Beidao brandished his blade and slashed out. His extremely fast brandishing speed caused his entire body to be wrapped in blade light. However, Yi Chen's Zhen Yuan longswords were not ordinary Zhen Yuan longswords, but Zhen Yuan longswords that contained a frightening sword intent. Every strike was equivalent to an extreme astral reaching expert's full power attack. Dozens of attacks simultaneously landed on Yen Beidao's protective blade light, and their destructive power was astonishing. With continuous cracking sounds, Yen Beidao's perlicue bled, and his entire body was sent flying once again. At the same time, several Zhen Yuan longswords instantly brushed past his body, leaving behind scars. What? The eldest imperial prince's pupils shrank, and he couldn't help but stand up. Too powerful. Sitting there casually from 3 to 4 li away, he beat the eldest imperial prince's right-hand man to the point of vomiting blood and retreating. Everyone was astonished. Yu Chen retracted his palm and said to the Black Dragon Empire's eldest imperial prince, what other powerful subordinates do you have? Come at me together. I have nothing better to do. After saying these words, his gaze shot a glance at the black-robed old man standing behind the eldest imperial prince. There was a golden flower tattooed on his chest. Gulp. It was merely a glance, but the black-robed old man felt as if an incomparably sharp and peerless sword was stabbing at him. He couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Eldest imperial prince, this person is more troublesome than I imagined. This old man is not his opponent. His lips slightly moved as he sent a Zhen Yuan transmission to the eldest imperial prince. The eldest imperial prince restrained his astonished expression and replied, I know. He's at least an expert at the level of Heartless Sect's great elder Pei Yudao. Pei Yudao's reputation in South Rudra region was even higher than Shen Tujue's. After all, before Shen Tujue condensed his martial soul embryo, Pei Yudao had always held the position of the #1 astral reaching expert. Moreover, there was no comparison. Who knew if Shen Tujue could defeat Pei Yudao? Pei Yudao's level. The black-robed old man sucked in a breath of cold air. Pei Yudao himself was a sword artist, and also an extreme astral reaching expert. In terms of offensive power and sword intent, he couldn't be compared to anyone else. At his level, he was basically invincible among astral reaching experts in South Rudra region. Ha! The eldest imperial prince suddenly laughed heartily. While clapping, he said, good strength. You've broadened this prince's horizons. This prince has come this time not only to get to know Brother Yi, but also to exchange pointers with Brother Yi. How about this, you and I exchange one move, so as to avoid harming our relationship? What do you think? The eldest imperial prince was quite apprehensive of Yu Chen. He was afraid that if the battle dragged on, he would lose face. If it was only one move, he was confident that he could receive it. After all, he was riding a tiger and couldn't back down. He had no choice but to find a way out of this embarrassing situation. I'll do as you say. How could Yu Chen not see through the eldest imperial prince's thoughts? This place is too narrow. You and I will exchange outside the city. The eldest imperial prince turned around and went down. 10 li north of Sky Star City, Star Regional Lake, Yu Chen and the eldest imperial prince stood 100 meters apart. The lake breeze blew on their clothes, causing them to flutter. In their surroundings, the spectators numbered in the tens of thousands. Almost all the astral reaching experts of Sky Star City had come. Of course, there were even more clasping yuan and condensing reality martial artists. Yu Chen said indifferently, make your move. The eldest imperial prince didn't say anything. The palm hidden in his sleeves tightly clenched into a fist. Black smoke curled up, faintly carrying thunder and flames. The black chi became more and more vigorous, eventually wrapping the eldest imperial prince within and soaring into the sky. The air within a radius of several hundred meters instantly distorted, and the scene became indistinct. Kacha! The sky turned dark at an unknown time, and a purple lightning struck down. At the same time, the eldest imperial prince made his move. His figure shot out like lightning, tearing through the void. His right fist, shrouded in black chi, suddenly punched out. Black Dragon Tyrant Fist. A huge black dragon condensed from Zhen Yuan rapidly formed. The dragon's body was 300 meters long, and its head was as big as a house. Its eyes opened, emitting a golden light. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it swooped down at Yu Chen. Wherever it went, the ground collapsed and cracked, and the lake water on one side raised huge waves. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. It's the Black Dragon Empire's royal martial art, Black Dragon Tyrant Fist. Someone recognized the eldest imperial prince's fist art. Black Dragon Tyrant Fist is said to be a fist art that is even higher than the top-rank Earth realm. With one punch, the sky and earth will change color, and the flood will flood. That black dragon condensed from Zhen Yuan also has a mental attack. Higher than the top-rank Earth realm fist art. Isn't that a Heaven realm fist art? Right, Heaven realm fist arts are also known as profound sense fist arts. The black dragon covered the sky and enveloped over. Its sharp claws and teeth tore through the air, creating one vacuum crack after another. It was as if it was tearing apart a huge piece of cloth. Its aura was astonishing, shaking the soul. Yet another profound sense martial skill. How could Yi Chen not know about the grade of Black Dragon Tyrant Fist? It was the same as Feng Yanrou's Ice Snow Sword domain, both of which were Heaven realm martial skills, which were also profound sense martial skills. Only Sea of Soul realm experts could create profound sense martial skills, because they already touched upon the existence of profound sense. The higher the profound sense, the more powerful the martial skill would be. Normally, Sea of Soul realm experts or masters could create low-rank profound sense martial skills at most. Mid-rank profound sense martial skills were beyond the power of Sea of Soul realm masters, and only Life and Death Kings could do it. As for the high-rank profound sense martial skills, only titled monarchs could create them. Whether Xianhou had done it or not, it was still unknown. Above the high-rank profound sense martial skills were the peak profound sense martial skills. Those who could create peak profound sense martial skills were already comparable to the ancient era's peak kings. The Crown Prince's Black Dragon Tyrant Fist was at most a superficial level, not even one-tenth of its full power. From this, it could be deduced that it should be a low-rank profound sense martial skill. Humph. Black Dragon Tyrant Fist was created by the old ancestor. Once I use this move, even those stronger than me will be temporarily suppressed. I'll let you make a fool of yourself. The Crown Prince was full of confidence. Within this one move, he was not afraid of anyone at the astral reaching realm. This was the big gift he had prepared for Yi Chen. Roar! The black dragon opened its huge mouth, and an incorporeal ripple radiated out. It was a spirit attack. Yi Chen wasn't afraid at all. The space between his brows swelled up like a diamond bead, and a shapeless and immaterial sword intent swiftly shot out, instantly extinguishing the mental attack without the slightest effort. Clang! Unsheathing the destruction sword, Yi Chen stabbed 3 times toward the black dragon. These 3 sword strikes were unimaginably fast. The first sword pierced through the black dragon's head, the second through its neck, and the third through its body. After stabbing 3 times, Yi Chen sheathed his sword and calmly stood there. Chapter 383. Crash. The Zhen Yuan black dragon seemed to have materialized flesh and blood. Its body was torn apart, and irregular chunks of flesh scattered down from the sky. It was an extremely spectacular sight, causing the souls of the spectating martial artists to tremble. Before the Zhen Yuan chunks of flesh reached the ground, they dissipated at different speeds. A Yuan Qi hurricane swept up where they were, blowing towards the sky. Impossible. Black Dragon Tyrant Fist was broken. Sparks flew from the gloves. Unable to bear the recoil of power, the Crown Prince was sent flying back at an even faster speed, his face full of disbelief. Black Dragon Tyrant Fist was a low-grade profound sense fist art, a pure killing fist art. In terms of might, even ordinary low-grade profound sense martial skills were inferior to it. Although he had only comprehended a bit of it, not even 1/10 of its peak, at the level of astral reaching realm, 1/10 of a low-grade profound sense fist art's might was already quite amazing. Originally, the Crown Prince was brimming with confidence. He believed that at the level of astral reaching realm, be it Shin Tujua or Pei Yudao, they would be suppressed by his Black Dragon Tyrant Fist within one move. In other words, he would be able to gain the upper hand within one move. As for after one move, he would have no other choice. He had set a one-move agreement with Yi Chen in order to suppress Yi Chen's prestige and establish his own. How could he have imagined that the Black Dragon Tyrant Fist, which had always been successful, would only be able to withstand 3 sword strikes from Yi Chen? These 3 sword strikes seemed to have cut into the blind spots of the Black Dragon Tyrant Fist, forcibly dismembering the Zhen Yuan Black Dragon, creating such a soul-shaking scene. Sheathing his sword, Yi Chen indifferently looked at the Crown Prince. Thanks for letting me win. Brother Ye's sword arts are indeed incomparably sharp. Seems like I won't be able to gain the upper hand within one move. The Crown Prince revealed a forced smile, feeling extremely sullen inwardly. With so many spectators, he was afraid that in less than 10 days, the entire Black Dragon Empire would know that he was inferior to Yi Chen. At this moment, the only thing he could do was play a word game, telling the world that he wouldn't be able to defeat Yi Chen in one move. However, after one move, the outcome might be different. Yi Chen said with a smile that was yet not a smile, likewise. Crown Prince's words are similarly incomparably sharp, not beneath my sword arts. The Crown Prince's chest heaved up and down. Well done, Yi Chen, you actually didn't give me a way out. I gave you face, but you made me lose face. Let's see how long you can be arrogant for. The Floating Mountain sect won't sit by and watch you grow. The remaining members of the 9 Ghost Cult will definitely try to assassinate you. The eldest prince's eyes narrowed into slits as he smiled and said, You're flattering me. Brother Ye's courage is truly shocking. You treat the Hanging Mountain like it's nothing. I'm ashamed of my inferiority. Yi Chen replied, The first imperial prince is openly trying to rope in the disciples of the various sections. Such methods and boldness far surpass Yi Chen's. How would Yi Chen dare to show off in front of the first imperial prince? Yi Chen's words were like his sword techniques, always hitting the nail on the head. Since the eldest imperial prince wanted to drag him down with him, he naturally would not be polite. After the 2 geniuses finished exchanging blows, they started bickering, which left the surrounding spectators dumbstruck. However, it seemed like Yi Chen was gaining the upper hand, and the Crown Prince was gradually losing the upper hand. Alright, I still have things to do. Brother Yi, you take care of yourself. We will meet again in the future. I hope that at that time, Brother Yi will still be as lively as you are today. With his status as the eldest imperial prince, if he continued, he would become a laughing stock. He could not afford to lose face, and neither could the royal family of the Black Dragon Empire. Let's go. The group of 6 came in a hurry and left in a hurry. Yi Chen sneered. This eldest imperial prince was nothing to worry about. Xikong Sheng, Yan Qihua, and Lin Yun were all much stronger than him. At least, the 3 of them did not know how to play word games. If they lost, they lost. They were just a bit more stubborn. As the eldest imperial prince of the Black Dragon Empire, he did not have any dignity at all. As soon as the eldest imperial prince left, everyone's gaze gathered on Yi Chen. Among all the southern regions of the true spirit continent, our South Rudra region is the weakest with the least amount of geniuses. But, from today onwards, it will be different. Yi Chen can completely compete with the top geniuses of other regions. Genius leader, fully deserving of the title. However, Yi Chen's situation is worrying. Not only did he offend the Floating Mountain sect and the remnants of the 9 evil cult, he even offended the eldest imperial prince of the Black Dragon Empire. It's hard to say for now. Without this boldness, perhaps Yi Chen would not be Yi Chen, and he would not have the achievements he has today. This battle had established Yi Chen's unshakable position as a genius leader. Returning to the 9-star White Jade restaurant, Yi Chen went into closed-door training and declined all guests. Feng Yenro's Ice Snow Sword Domain and the eldest Imperial Prince's Black Dragon Tyrant Fist were both low-grade Profound Sense martial skills, which brought a trace of threat to Yi Chen. It was not that the two could threaten Yi Chen. Without exaggerating, the current Yi Chen could kill them with 30 to 40% of his strength, and he could suppress an astral-reaching paragon with 50% of his strength. In other words, 50% of Yi Chen's strength was enough for him to look down on everyone and rule the astral-reaching realm. The reason why he felt threatened was because the low-grade Profound Sense martial skills made Yi Chen feel that he was lacking. Limited by Profound Sense, astral-reaching experts were unable to grasp Profound Sense martial skills. For example, Feng Yenro and the eldest Imperial Prince had stopped at less than 10%. However, who knew if there would be someone who could grasp 10%, or even 20%? Who knew if a freak like Yi Chen would appear, cultivating a top-rank Earth-grade martial skill to the peak of the 13th layer and condensing a Sword Soul embryo or a Martial Soul embryo? Perhaps there would even be someone at the astral-reaching realm who could directly condense a Sword Soul or Martial Soul. These were all uncertain. Perhaps, perhaps not. Yi Chen couldn't hope that others didn't have this kind of talent and opportunity. True Spirit Continent was so big, and it was quite possible for such freaks to appear. Therefore, what Yi Chen could do was to constantly strengthen himself and never be satisfied. Profound Sense martial skills. Yi Chen also had them, but he couldn't use them. The void-shattering finger he obtained on the Sheephead Mountain was undoubtedly a Profound Sense finger art. However, the void-shattering finger's profoundness was different from ordinary profoundness. It involved space. Up until now, Yi Chen still didn't know what the space attribute was or how to comprehend it. Rather than spending time on the void-shattering finger, he might as well comprehend the strongest ninth style of Green Lotus Sword Arts. Indeed, it was precisely the ninth style of Green Lotus Sword Arts. According to Battle King's rich knowledge, Yi Chen was clear that the last style of a top-rank Earth Realm martial skill was extraordinary. Although it couldn't compare to a low-rank Profound Sense martial skill, it was still a lot more powerful than a tenth of a low-rank Profound Sense martial skill. Those Sea of Soul Realm experts who could create low-rank Profound Sense martial skills had already cultivated one or two top-rank Earth Realm martial skills to perfection. Without perfection, one couldn't even talk about creating a Profound Sense martial skill. Generally speaking, astral-reaching experts couldn't cultivate top-rank Earth Realm martial skills to perfection. However, Yi Chen was an exception. His soul was several times more powerful than other martial artists at the same level, and his comprehensive ability was extremely high. Moreover, top-rank Earth Realm martial skills were still within the realm of mentalities, not as mysterious as Profound Sense. As long as one could cultivate the ninth style of Green Lotus Sword Arts, the possibility of falling into a disadvantage in the astral-reaching realm in terms of moves was almost negligible, unless the opponent had comprehended the profound in advance and could push the Profound Sense martial skill to a higher realm. Of course, he had to comprehend the ninth style of Green Lotus Sword Arts, as well as the 14th layer of Green Lotus Sword Arts. Under the same rank, the difficulty of improving a cultivation technique was more than double that of a martial skill. Many Sea of Soul Realm experts had yet to cultivate a top-rank Earth Realm martial skill to perfection. With the accumulation of the first 8 styles of Green Lotus Sword Arts, it's not impossible to attack the ninth style. Once I succeed in the ninth style, my mentalities will transform into Profound Sense. Straightening out his thoughts, Yi Chen searched for the best place to comprehend the sword arts. On the floating mountain peak, there was only one main hall. In the main hall, Floating Mountain's sect leader, a majestic middle-aged man, was sitting in the main seat. Below him were 3 people. One was Floating Mountain's core great elder, Shen Tujue. The 2 old men beside him had never been seen before. Their appearances were extremely old. According to an ordinary person's estimation, they were at least 90 years old. If converted to an astral-reaching expert's age, they would be more than 180 years old, close to the end of their lifespan. The majestic middle-aged man was Sikong Shing's grandfather, Sikong Ba, also a descendant of the Tsang king. Shen Tujue, with your strength alone, even if you can suppress Yi Chen, it will be difficult for you to smoothly kill him. This time, I've sent Elder Li and Elder Fu to assist you. Their strength is comparable to yours. With the three of them joining hands, killing Yi Chen will be as easy as blowing off dust. Sikong Ba said indifferently. Shen Tujue glanced at Elder Li and Elder Fu, then cupped his hands and said, with the assistance of two elders who have been cultivating for a long time, we can naturally kill Yi Chen. However, before that, please allow me to act alone. If I can't smoothly kill him, then we'll join hands. He had his own plans. If he killed Yi Chen with the strength of 3 people before the fight even started, wouldn't it mean that he was inferior to Yi Chen? This was not his original intention. Elder Li smiled. Elder Shen Tujue is still so domineering. Sect leader, I also feel that Elder Shen Tujue can deal with him alone. We'll just watch from the side. He and Elder Fu had been cultivating for a long time without any contact with the outside world. Through the accumulation of time and the support of the sect's resources, their strength was extremely frightening. They were both existences not inferior to Shen Tujue. If Shen Tujue couldn't deal with Yi Chen, it meant that they couldn't deal with him either. Therefore, they didn't believe that Yi Chen could be so powerful. Sikong Ba nodded. This time, only success is allowed. Failure is not allowed. Yes. Shen Tujue nodded. With a wave of his robe, Sikong Ba threw out 4 streams of light. 2 of the 4 streams of light flew towards Shen Tujue, while the other 2 fell towards Elder Li and Elder Fu. The 3 of them reached out to receive the streams of light. When they felt the fluctuations coming from the streams of light, they were shocked. They were actually high-grade artifacts, a total of 4 high-grade artifacts. Elder Li's high-grade artifact was a saber. The saber light swirled and sliced through the void. Elder Fu's high-grade artifact was a long spear, with a large snake coiled around it. As for Shen Tujue, he had 2 high-grade artifacts. One was a greenish-black glove, while the other was a dark green armor. One for offense and one for defense. Sect leader. Shen Tujue raised his head. Sikong Ba said indifferently, I said, only success is allowed. Failure is not allowed. These 4 high-grade artifacts were borrowed from the other Supreme Elders. After using them, you still have to return them. Shen Tujue understands. Feeling the fluctuations of the high-grade artifacts, Shen Tujue was overjoyed. With 2 high-grade artifacts, he was an absolutely invincible existence in the astral-reaching realm. His offense was frighteningly powerful, and his defense was similarly frighteningly powerful. He was already in an invincible position. It seemed like the sect leader's desire to kill Yi Chen was quite intense. But, it was no wonder. Yi Chen's action of killing Daoist Jin Huang was already a great disrespect to Floating Mountain. How could he be allowed to live? You guys set off. Sikong Ba waved his hand. Chapter 384. After pondering for a while, Sikong Ba's figure suddenly flickered. The air distorted, no, the space rapidly warped. As if teleporting, he left the main palace and arrived at a dark green mountain behind the floating mountain. Sect leader, why have you come? A voice came from the layers upon layers of buildings. Sikong Ba's lips slightly moved. I reckon you'll have to take action this time. After saying these words, he directly shot into the main palace. The main palace was spacious, without a single person. Soon, a gray-haired old man walked in and faintly nodded towards Sikong Ba, expressing his respect. The gray-haired old man said, still for that matter? Sikong Ba faintly nodded, indeed. According to Elder Jin Huang's description, the expert behind Yi Chen should be a Sea of Soul Realm expert, but not a master. This time, I sent Elder Li and Elder Fu to assist Elder Shen Tuesday. I'm 90% sure. However, in order to prevent that expert from interfering, you're the most suitable. Daoist Jin Huang wasn't clear about the strength of the hand's owner, but how could Sikong Ba not? After listening to Daoist Jin Huang's description, he confirmed that this person was a Sea of Soul realm expert, and not a life and death king. In fact, life and death kings rarely took action for a genius, unless this genius had already reached the Sea of Soul realm. Therefore, Ba didn't have any misgivings in sending people to kill Yu Chen. Of course, he couldn't go too far and deliberately send a Sea of Soul realm expert to deal with an astral reaching expert. Not to mention whether he was insane or not, even if he wasn't, he would still anger that Sea of Soul realm expert. Right now, Elder Shen Tujueli and Elder Fu were both astral reaching experts. He believed that if they killed Yu Chen, the other party would have nothing to say. However, just in case, Ba still felt that he should send a Supreme Elder, lest the other party save Yu Chen again. In that case, I'll go out for a walk. The gray-haired old man was clear why Ba didn't call anyone else, but him. In the entire floating mountain, apart from Ba, he was the strongest. Ba himself naturally couldn't act, since there were too many taboos. However, if he acted, there wouldn't be so many taboos. I hope he doesn't interfere. I've already mastered the wave split, and I'm lacking an opponent to test its power on. The gray-haired old man sneered and walked out of the main hall, disappearing without a trace. Ba similarly sneered. The gray-haired old man's seniority was several generations higher than his, and his cultivation base was at mid-Sea of Soul realm. Although he was a bit weaker than him, he was an existence that couldn't be ignored among ordinary Sea of Soul realm experts. With him watching from the side, the expert behind Yu Chen would be helpless. A little martial genius attracting two Sea of Souls realm warriors. Yu Chen, you should be proud. Windy Nation. South Rudra Martial School. The 1,000-foot waterfall poured down in torrents, emitting a loud rumbling sound. A dignified woman in her 30s walked out of the bamboo house. After not seeing him for 3 years, he has actually improved so much. In the end, I still underestimated him. He is a genius worth nurturing. On the grass outside the bamboo house, the black-robed spy said, "Leader, the Floating Mountain Martial School has already sent 3 experts to deal with Yu Chen. I'm afraid Yu Chen's situation is not optimistic." Long Bai shook her head. "Astral reaching experts will have to deal with him by himself. I can't help him. But, there's no harm in going. Perhaps something unexpected will happen." As soon as she finished speaking, the space in front of Long Bai suddenly distorted, rippling like water in a pond being blown by a gale. When the black-robed spy raised his head, Long Bai was nowhere to be seen. 10 days later, Sky Star City, 9-star White Jade Tower. Where did Yu Chen go? As soon as he arrived, Shen Tujue controlled all the astral reaching experts on the 7th floor. Anyone who disobeyed would be killed without mercy. Under the pressure of the 3, someone pointed to the north. Star Regional Lake. Elderly creased his brows. Shen Tujue's sinister gaze swept across the crowd. "I hope you're telling the truth. Otherwise, there will be no place for you in the South Rudra region." Humph. Flicking his sleeves and leaving, the 3 flew towards the Star Regional Lake 10 li away. 7th floor lobby. Nobody said anything, but their complexions were ashen. The Floating Mountain Martial School was too overbearing. For better or worse, they were famous astral reaching experts, yet they were being threatened like this. If not for Floating Mountain Martial School's reputation being too great and its influence being too powerful, they would have long since smashed the gates of any other 7th grade sect. Above the boundless lake, 3 figures were flying at extreme speed. Star Regional Lake is so big. Wanting to find a person won't be that easy. We might have to spend some effort. Elderly said. Shintuju nodded. He turned his head to look at the silent Elder Fu and said, "Elder Fu, your heavenly vision and earthly hearing technique can sense any activity within a radius of 800 miles. When the time comes, I'll need your help." Elder Fu said, "No problem." The heavenly sight and earthly hearing great art was an auxiliary art passed down from ancient times. It didn't have much use in battle, but it was extremely powerful when searching for people or objects. Circulating the art with all its might, one could sense movements within 800 li. It was several times more powerful than spirit power radiation. It should be known that an astral reaching expert's spirit power could only cover a dozen li, and even some relatively powerful ones wouldn't exceed 20 li. Within 20 li, nothing could be hidden. Beyond 20 li, one could only sense ripples, but beyond 50 li, not even ripples could be sensed, unless the other party deliberately created a powerful disturbance. Another week passed by, and the three's mental appearance was somewhat exhausted. In particular, the wrinkles on Elder Fu's face seemed to have increased a bit. He said in a low voice, "Although my heavenly sight and earthly hearing great art is useful, I've used it too frequently. My spirit has already suffered some damage. If I can't find his shadow within 3 days, I'll have to return and recuperate. Otherwise, I'll lose even the last shred of hope of stepping into the Sea of Soul realm." Elder Li and Shintujue nodded in understanding. Shintujue coldly snorted, "When I find that kid, I'll let him know what it means to wish for death." On an uninhabited island in the Star Regional Lake, Kacha, a barren mountain split open, sword chi overflowing in all directions. Surging sword intent pervaded the air, not dissipating for a long time. The ninth style of Green Lotus sword art has nothing to do with mentality. I've long since reached the limit of wood mentality, and my water mentality is also nearing the limit. It's impossible for me to have no progress at all. It should be due to the utilization of the mentality. In a situation where the mentality is the same, the one with a higher utilization of the mentality will naturally have the upper hand. Mentality was only a core, and the crux was utilization. Those who didn't know how to utilize it would undoubtedly be at a disadvantage in battle. For example, the black-robed old man's thunder mentality contained explosive power. This was a kind of utilization, but the utilization of the ninth style of Green Lotus sword art was even more obscure. Let's try again. Grasping the greenwood sword with both hands, Yi Qin calmed his heart and became as tranquil as an ancient well. Shortly after, he suddenly opened his eyes and slashed the void, striking at a barren mountain not far away. Kacha! The barren mountain split into 2 halves, and the upper half slid down in a slanted manner before crashing down with a loud rumble. "Yeah, it's starting to have some flavor." Yi Qin revealed a faint smile. Suddenly, his smile froze, and his forehead faintly twitched. His soul power radiated out, harmonizing with the void. Someone is using mental power to scan this place. Such a thin mental power, but it has increased the range by more than 10 times. Yi Chen's soul power was higher than mental power, so he instantly discerned the profoundness of this mental power. 500 li away, a rare smile appeared on Elder Fu's face as he nodded, "Found it. It's on an uninhabited island 500 li west." "Ha, what are we waiting for? Let's go." Shen Tujue was overjoyed. The three usually traveled at 50 to 60% speed. But at this moment, they were going all out, instantly reaching 3 to 4 times the speed of sound. Just as the three left, a figure teleported over. "Seems like I don't need to guide them anymore." The newcomer was precisely the Floating Mountain's supreme elder, the gray-haired old man. Originally, he planned to help the three when they were at their wits' end. After all, the mental power of Sea of Soul realm experts had a wider range, and its utilization was also extremely ingenious. He could completely achieve the level of heaven's sight and earth's hearing. Noiselessly, the gray-haired old man leaped and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already far away, like a flickering feeble light. The Floating Mountain actually dispatched a supreme elder. Could it be that they're afraid of me saving Yi Chen? That should be the case. Even further away, a dignified woman in her 30s floated in the air. In front of her was a water curtain that connected to the void. On the water curtain, the gray-haired old man's figure flickered. If a Sea of Soul Realm expert were nearby, he or she would certainly be able to tell that the water curtain was propelled by profound. Most people only comprehended combat-type profound martial skills, and had very few supplementary profound martial skills. Within a limited time, comprehending battle power-enhancing profound martial skills was undoubtedly the wisest choice. Only if one already had several combat-type profound martial skills would they have the leisure to comprehend other things. Of course, one could also choose not to comprehend them, since the profound martial skills left behind by predecessors were still quite profound. The water curtain dispersed, and the dignified woman disappeared. "We're here." Elder Fu and the other two arrived at the uninhabited island. "Yi Chen, get out here." Shen Tujue operated his Zhen Yuan and roared. 3 extreme astral reaching experts. Floating mountain really thinks highly of me. Yi Chen appeared on a barren mountain with a long sword at his waist. Elder Li said in an awe-inspiring tone, "You can also be considered a stunning genius. If you continue to grow, you'll most likely reach an even higher realm. Unfortunately, you shouldn't have provoked my floating mountain and killed our core elder, Daoist Jin Huang. Now that you're waiting for death, I'll leave your corpse intact. Otherwise, you'll be cut into pieces." In the three's eyes, Yi Chen was already a dead man. Not to mention the fact that the 3 of them were existences among extreme astral reaching experts, any one of them could contend against or even suppress Yi Chen. With the 3 of them joining hands, Yi Chen had absolutely no hope of survival. Moreover, the 3 of them had 4 upper-grade artifacts on them. Upper-grade offensive artifacts could amplify attack power by 70 to 80%, while upper-grade defensive artifacts could amplify defense by 70 to 80%. Such a powerful formation of astral-reaching experts couldn't be found in the entire South Rudra region. Trash. Today, this uninhabited island will be your burial ground. Yi Chen's killing intent had already been aroused. Courting death. Shen Tujue roared. With a wave of his palm, a barren mountain uprooted and smashed towards Yi Chen. At the same time, his figure flickered, rapidly approaching. Crack! The flying barren mountain split open, and the sword Qi, like the first ray of sunlight in the morning, scattered across the horizon and heavily chopped at Shen Tujue's protective Zhen Yuan. Shen Tujue simply didn't have enough time to react. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth as he was sent flying. Chapter 385. As the sword Qi rushed out, Yi Chen slashed out 10 times in a row, completely enveloping the 3 as he said, "I said you're nothing more than chickens and dogs. Come at me together, saving me the trouble of dealing with you one by one." At his current level, any astral reaching expert in South Rudra region was nothing more than a chicken or dog in front of Yi Chen, unable to withstand a single blow. Not to mention 3 extreme astral reaching experts, even 2 or 3 times more would be useless. Of course, under normal circumstances, Yi Chen might have played a few moves. However, against the people chasing him from Floating Mountain, there was no need to be lenient. So what if he was a bit domineering? Peng 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 peng, sword Qi shot out, crisscrossing. Including Elder Li and Elder Fu, the 3 didn't even have the opportunity to counterattack. Their protective Zhen Yuan shattered one after another, and blood splattered everywhere. This was only because Yi Chen had some misgivings and didn't want to reveal his full battle power. After all, revealing such a frightening strength would inevitably lead to other incidents. It should be known that in South Rudra region's astral reaching realm, extreme experts were the peak, and those with upper-grade artifacts were astral-reaching paragons. Instantly killing 3 of them would cause an unimaginable sensation. As for why he had some misgivings, it was because there weren't only the 4 of them in this area. There was someone else spying on them. In terms of soul strength, he wasn't inferior to a Sea of Soul realm expert. Despite limiting his battle power, Yi Chen was still an existence that surpassed the astral reaching realm. In other words, he was the only one who was unrivaled. Impossible. I have an upper-grade artifact that amplifies my defense by 70 to 80%. It's twice as powerful as a mid-grade artifact. Why can't I block his sword chi? Shen Tujue was about to go crazy. Among the three, his defense was the strongest. However, facing Yi Chen's sword chi, it still crumbled. Elder Li and Elder Fu were even more miserable. Their bodies were drenched in blood, as if they had been cut into pieces. It was a tragic sight to behold. Roar! Shen Tujue roared angrily. Wearing a dark blue glove, he struck out with his palm. Numerous barren mountains were uprooted from the ground, shattering in the air as they shot towards Yi Chen at an extreme speed. The rubble rubbed against the air, producing a shocking flame that looked like a meteor shower. Green Lotus splitting mountain, sweeping the heavens and earth. Yi Chen performed the sixth movement of the Green Lotus sword arts, the Green Lotus splitting the mountain. He slashed out horizontally and vertically, and the cross-shaped sword light covered the heaven and earth, shattering the endless meteors and rocks. It landed on Shen Tujue's body, forcefully crushing him into a barren mountain, where his figure could no longer be seen. Golden Waterfall Space Slash. Dragon Snake Combination Attack. Taking advantage of the time when Yi Chen was dealing with Shen Tujue, Elder Li and Elder Fu ignored their blood-stained bodies, each wielding a high-grade saber and spear as they fiercely charged towards Yi Chen. Scram! Clothes fluttering in the wind, Yi Chen swept his sword horizontally. Green lotuses bloomed, and sword chi disappeared. The sword chi slashed down on the high-grade bejeweled weapons and a terrifying force flowed through the blade and spear. With two cracking sounds, Elder Li and Elder Fu's arms were broken and they were sent flying while coughing out blood. Three extreme astral-reaching experts, no, 3 astral-reaching paragons, couldn't even block a single sword strike from Yi Chen, suffering injuries one after another. Not to mention Shen Tujue, whose life and death were unknown, Elder Li was already frightened to the extreme. Even the taciturn Elder Fu was trembling. Too frightening. How could such a frightening character appear in the astral-reaching realm? Not to mention that they had never encountered such a character, they had never even heard of such a character. Rumble. The barren mountain shattered, and Shen Tujue rushed out. Pointing at Yi Chen, he said with bloodshot eyes, "Kid Yi, don't be too complacent. Offending my floating mountain, don't think of having a peaceful day in the future. Just wait for wave after wave of attacks." Finished speaking, he turned to the two elders and said, "Let's go." He had never thought that Yi Chen would dare to kill them. After all, they were different from Daoist Jin Huang, who was merely a core elder, and had a lot more strength than him. On the other hand, the three of them were the most powerful existences in the floating mountain astral-reaching realm. Killing them was tantamount to declaring war with the floating mountain sect. Therefore, even if Yi Chen had more guts, he wouldn't dare to kill them. At this moment, he wanted to leave. What could the other party do to him? This was the might of a 6th-grade sect. Ha ha ha. Yi Chen faced the sky and laughed heartily, his killing intent surging. If you want to leave, leave. Have you asked my sword? Die. The greenwood sword danced, causing the air to violently revolve. Numerous green lotuses appeared out of nowhere, growing from thumb-sized to dozens of meters in size. With a shake of Yi Chen's arm, the greenwood sword sprinkled out layer upon layer of sword light. The sword light expanded sharply as it charged towards the three. You dare to make a move? Don't tell me you want to declare war with my floating mountain. Shen Tujue didn't manage to utter the last word, because the sword light had already arrived. Although Shen Tujue had strengthened his protective Jin Yuan to the limit at the first moment, the dark green light was like jade. However, he had underestimated Yi Chen, who had already activated his killing intent. The sword light, which contained a frightening sword intent, was like charcoal burning on a cotton cloth, easily piercing through his protective Jin Yuan and chopping off both of his arms. Soon after, even more sword lights arrived, causing Shen Tujue to continuously puke blood through the dark green armor. The sudden increase in attack power made Shen Tujue panic. He didn't think that Yi Chen would not care about the power of the floating mountain sect at all, and would attack without any hesitation. The intense pain caused him to let out a blood-curdling scream. Looking down at both of his arms, he realized that both of his arms had been cut off from the shoulder. From now on, he had become a cripple. The fear on his face turned into hatred. Damn it, damn it. How dare you cut off my arms? I, Shintuju, will not let you live under the same sky. I will destroy your Yi family and Sky Cloud Martial School. Yi Chen's eyes were ice cold. This person definitely couldn't be left alive. Kill. With his green lotus Shin Yuan surging, Yi Chen was about to unleash another sword attack. Brat Yi, you have to think this through. If you kill Elder Shintu, no one will be able to save you. My floating mountain sect will definitely march south and kill our way into the Windy Nation. Elder Li's face turned pale with fright as he threatened. Elder Fu's expression was cold. If you dare to make a move, I, Elder Fu, guarantee that no one related to you will be left alive. Killing one is killing, 3 is also killing. You can come and go as you please. How can there be such a good thing in this world? On the road to the Yellow Springs, you can go first. As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Chen's greenwood sword was swung out heavily. Dozens of li away, the gray-haired old man, who was watching this scene, suddenly paled. An intense killing intent surfaced in his eyes, and the air around him exploded. This time, his mission was to obstruct the expert behind Yi Chen and save Yi Chen. After all, Shintuju and the other 2 possessed upper-grade artifacts. With the 3 of them joining hands, any astral-reaching expert would fall, and Yi Chen would be no exception. However, the situation had completely spiraled out of his control. Not only did Shintuju and the other 2 fail to kill Yi Chen, they were instead slaughtered by Yi Chen. It was a tragic sight. If he were to tell others, the majority of people wouldn't believe it. Even the gray-haired old man himself didn't dare to believe it. The plan had changed. The gray-haired old man couldn't just watch as Yi Chen killed the 3. Unfortunately, he was too far away from the uninhabited island. He immediately regretted not paying attention. If he had paid attention to this robbery, he would have approached long ago. With his Sea of Soul Realm methods, he wouldn't have been discovered. A distance of dozens of li, even with his speed as a Sea of Soul Realm expert, couldn't be crossed in an instant. Even if he attacked, it would be too late. Yi Chen had already made his move. The only thing he could do was to warn him. Little bastard, stop. If you dare to kill the 3 of them, this old man will let you know the meaning of pain. Your Yi family and Sky Cloud sect will also be completely erased. Under the cover of Sea of Soul Realm Jin Yuan, the sound traveled to the uninhabited island at an explosive speed, entering Yi Chen's ears in a tenth of a second. In your dreams. Yi Chen had already made up his mind. The greenwood sword, which had reached the optimal angle, shot out waves of indestructible sword chi. The sword chi was like a tide, instantly drowning the 3. Chi 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 chi, 1,000 cuts, 1,000 cuts, 1,000 cuts, 1,000 cuts. Under the torrent of sword chi, the 3 were sliced into a bloody mist. Only the area protected by the upper-grade artifacts remained intact. As for the mid-grade artifacts, although Yi Chen couldn't destroy them, the sword chi still struck them, and the frightening power vibrated at an extremely high frequency, turning them into a bloody mist. One sword strike killed 3 people. The gray-haired old man froze for a moment, feeling incomparably shocked and furious. He had already warned Yi Chen, but the latter dared to ignore him. Little bastard, you dare to ignore this old man? Buzz! The space suddenly distorted as the gray-haired old man teleported over. With 2 or 3 flickers, the gray-haired old man appeared in the sky above the uninhabited island. Yi Chen looked straight at the gray-haired old man. He could tell that the latter was a Sea of Soul Realm expert, and not an ordinary one at that. That frightening aura even expelled the air, turning the surroundings into a vacuum. With him as the center, all the shattered objects within several li floated up. Kacha! Kacha! The ground suddenly cracked open, unable to bear the pressure of a sea of soul realm expert. Originally, this old man didn't intend to kill you. You don't deserve it. But today, this old man will make an exception. Dying in this old man's hands is something you can be proud of. The gray-haired old man didn't care about the rules or the experts behind him. If he wanted to kill, he would kill. Yi Qin had already succeeded in angering him. He raised his right hand, and masses of dark cyan qi rapidly revolved, expanding from several meters to several hundred meters. It was like a huge millstone. As the millstone formed, gales rose in the sky, dark clouds covered the sky, and thunder and lightning interweaved. The speed at which the ground crumbled became faster and faster. After killing you, this old man will personally make a trip to Windy Nation. But, you won't be able to see the scene of blood flowing like a river. Bang! The gray-haired old man let out a low roar. The huge millstone flew out of his hand, completely ignoring the distance between them as it instantly bombarded toward Yi Chen's face. If this strike landed, even if Yi Chen was wearing an upper-grade defensive artifact, the golden gilt armor, he would die without a doubt. However, his expression was calm, without a trace of panic. I'd like to see how you kill him and personally make a trip to Windy Nation. Get lost. At the critical moment, a sky-covering huge hand appeared out of nowhere. Its 5 fingers closed, and the huge millstone seemed to have entered a cage. It didn't even have the chance to struggle before it was grabbed by the huge hand. Dong! A muffled explosion resounded. The dark clouds scattered, and thunder and lightning flew everywhere. The huge hand lightly clenched, and the huge millstone shattered into nothingness. After several years, the sky-covering huge hand had reappeared. Chapter 386. Who is it? Trying to hide. The gray-haired old man's complexion changed. He wasn't astonished at the might of the sky-covering hand. In fact, that move was merely a casual attack of his. What truly made him apprehensive was that the newcomer's concealment skill was extremely profound. He had actually failed to discover the opponent's existence. Spreading out his soul power, the gray-haired old man finally sensed a trace of fluctuation on the lake surface 10 li away. Splash! A thin layer of water curtain descended. This water curtain was colorless and formless, almost fusing with the void. Looking at it with the naked eye, it seemed to be nothing. Even if one radiated their soul power, it would be absorbed by the water curtain, unable to sense the slightest fluctuation. The gray-haired old man didn't know that the expert behind Yi Chen had such a frightening concealment skill, so he didn't pay much attention. As the water curtain dissipated, a 30-years-old dignified woman appeared in the sight of Yi Chen and the gray-haired old man. Sect leader Long, Yi Chen was relieved. 3 years ago, he had guessed that the owner of the sky-covering hand was South Rudra Sect's sect leader Long Bai, and it was just as he had expected. Long Bai suspiciously glanced at Yi Chen. She didn't know why, but she was very clear that the gray-haired old man hadn't noticed her. Yet, Yi Chen seemed to be aware of it. Could it be her misconception? After all, an astral-reaching expert, no matter how powerful his battle power was, couldn't have such great accomplishments in the aspect of soul power that he could see through her traces. Perhaps I'm overthinking it. Long Bai dispelled this doubt. However, she had miscalculated this time. Yi Chen had indeed sensed Long Bai's fluctuation. That faintly discernible aura was exactly the same as the sky-covering hand. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ignored the gray-haired old man's warning and killed Shin Tujue and the other two. The gray-haired old man didn't sense sect leader Long's trace, which means that his soul power is inferior to mine. Seems like I've underestimated the strength of my soul. The soul was the origin of a person, and was hard to sense. Yi Chen only knew that his soul was not inferior to Sea of Soul realm experts, but he didn't know to what extent. Compared to the gray-haired old man, Yichen discovered that his advantage was much higher than he had imagined. Who are you? The gray-haired old man had never seen Long Bai before. Long Bai's tone was indifferent. You don't need to know my identity. You can go back to where you came from. Humph. I don't care who you are, but this kid killed 3 conclave elders of the Hanging Mountain. Even death cannot wipe out his crimes. As the supreme elder of the floating sky mountain, the gray-haired old man was second only to Long Bai. If he was scared away by Long Bai's words, wouldn't he become a laughingstock? If it's an astral reaching realm battle, then let the astral reaching realm take care of it. You and I are both at the Sea of Souls realm. It would be inappropriate for us to get involved in the astral reaching realm's business. If you don't let it go, then I will have to beat you back. Although Long Bai was a woman, her aura was as vast as the sea, and there was a trace of extraordinary domineeringness in her calmness. Beat me back. I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Fine, I've long wanted to test the power of wave crack. I'll use you to test it out. The gray-haired old man laughed heartily. His voice was like muffled thunder, shaking the surrounding barren mountains. Without stopping, the gray-haired old man raised his hand and attacked Yichen. Today, nobody can save you, not even her. Die. He had the intention to exchange blows with Long Bai, but only after killing Yichen. Rumble. In front of Yichen, a dark cyan chi appeared out of nowhere and transformed into a huge millstone, rapidly crushing towards Yichen at lightning speed. Since you insist, then there's nothing to say. Long Bai slapped with one hand, shattering the millstone. At the same time, a soft force acted on Yichen's body, pushing him 10 li away. You're courting death. The gray-haired old man was enraged. His long hair fluttered in the wind, and his arms shook. White wind blades condensed and floated 3 feet away from his body. These wind blades were not simple wind blades. Upon closer inspection, one could see that there were many tiny wind blades moving inside the wind blades. In other words, these wind blades were formed by the combination of even smaller wind blades. The concept of wind could no longer be described. Only the profound meaning of wind could push these wind blades, causing their power to reach an even more terrifying realm. Wind blade, go! As soon as he shouted, the wind blades collectively shot out. The distance of several li was practically non-existent. Yichen exclaimed in surprise. Wherever the wind blades passed, vacuum cracks would appear in the void, like a torn piece of cloth. And the most powerful thing was not this. Outside the wind blades, the space was distorted, as if it could not bear the cutting of the wind blades. To be able to distort space, what kind of shocking destructive power was this? 5 caltrip water caltrip. Long Bai's expression did not change. She stretched out her left hand, and waves of water rippled, forming a pyramid at an incredible speed. The pyramid was placed horizontally, protecting Long Bai inside. It was like a pyramid laid horizontally, with the sharp tip facing the wind blades. Bo 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 bo. When the wind blades hit the transparent pyramid, they were either bounced off or stuck inside. Their speed was reduced by 90%, and they could not display their original power at all. The bounced wind blades lost half of their power, but when they landed on the uninhabited island, the entire island trembled. The ground was plowed with bottomless ravines, and the ravines spread out. The uninhabited island showed signs of cracking, and the seawater gradually poured in. Such a powerful low-level defensive profound. It can actually block my wind blade. Even if the gray-haired old man hated Long Bai to the core, he had to admit that the defensive low-level profound martial skill she used was very powerful. This wind blade was not created by him, but by a senior of the floating mountain. It was an offensive low-level profound martial skill. Once it was used, there would be tiny wind blades moving inside the wind blades, increasing their power and terrifying destructive power. You take my soaring cloud dragon hand as well. Supporting the 5 caltrip water caltrip with her left hand, Long Bai's right hand spun. Water rippled, and a mountain-sized huge hand pressed toward the gray-haired old man. The huge hand was incomparably huge, covering the sun and the sky. The veins on the palm could be clearly seen. So what if I take one of your moves? The gray-haired old man was full of confidence. His body shook, and his Zhen Yuan swelled, transforming into a faintly discernible stone statue phantom. This stone statue phantom had a clear structure, and every joint was seamless without the slightest flaw. Moreover, a dark blue flowing light pervaded the air, making it look like a crystal. This crystal protector of mine is one of Stone King's 3 great defensive profound martial skills. Although it is only a low-level one, its defense is absolutely extraordinary. Back in the day, Stone King was somewhat famous among ordinary life and death kings precisely because of its powerful defense. With the protection of this low-level defensive profound martial skill, the gray-haired old man didn't believe that Long Bai could break through it. As soon as she revealed a flaw, he would launch a fierce counterattack. The huge hand struck the stone statue phantom, causing gales to rise in the sky. A vast ripple radiated out, reaching dozens of li away. The lake water around the uninhabited island was pushed in every direction, reaching a height of over 1,000 meters. It was like a huge iron pot, and the uninhabited island was right at the bottom of the pot. As for Yi Chen, who was standing 10 li behind Long Bai, even he felt his footing becoming unstable, as if he would be blown away. One could easily imagine how frightening the aftermath of the battle was. Kacha! Abruptly, a crack appeared on the stone statue phantom, and the crack quietly extended, covering its entire body. Impossible! How could Crystal Protector fail to block her attack? The gray-haired old man roared, his figure explosively retreating. The huge hand chased for dozens of li before exhausting its strength and loudly collapsing. Very good. You are qualified for me to use Wave Split. Once I use this move, no matter how powerful your defense is, it will still be destroyed. With an ashen face, the gray-haired old man let out a long roar. Zhen Yuan erupted like a volcano, fiercely pouring into his right arm. His withered right arm was like an inflated balloon, rapidly expanding to the thickness of an adult's waist. His clothes were instantly torn apart, exploding into pieces. Wave Split. A fist containing a frightening power was thrown out, and the gray-haired old man's body was forced back 3 steps. Circles of space wrinkles appeared in the space in front of him. The wrinkles spread crazily, getting faster and faster, and the power was getting stronger and stronger. In the end, the space wrinkles began to show signs of exploding. Wave Split is my own creation, so it is most suitable for me. Wind Wave Blade and Crystal Protector are, after all, profound martial skills created by others, so I can't use them to their limits. Only the one created by myself is most suitable for me. Have a taste of its power. The gray-haired old man thought. Facing the incoming power, Long Bai slightly creased her brows. She could already feel the terror of this move. Not only was distance unable to obstruct it, but its power was also stacked layer by layer. If it met an external force, it would explode crazily, and the 5 caltrops might not be able to resist it. As she expected, the moment the 5 caltrops came into contact with the wave split power, they rapidly disintegrated. The exploding water shot up 10,000 meters into the sky, and she herself had to retreat more than 10 steps before the impact was neutralized. This move is indeed not bad. Unfortunately, the gap between you and me can't be made up. Reverse current chop. Without a trace of panic on her face, Long Bai straightened her palm as a blade and chopped at the extremely condensed wave split power. Chi! The wave split power was extremely powerful, but Long Bai's reverse current chop seemed to be able to restrain it. The blade energy rushed out and split the power in half, and the water curtain-like blade energy rapidly chopped at the gray-haired old man's body. Puff! Spurting out a mouthful of blood, the gray-haired old man's stone statue phantom completely shattered, and he was sent flying dozens of li away. It's over. At this point, Yi Chen was already clear that the gray-haired old man and Long Bai were a level apart. There wasn't much suspense. He couldn't have imagined that the ordinary South Rudra sect's leader would be a Sea of Soul realm expert. Including Sky Cloud's sect's leader, the other 4 sect leaders could stand side by side with her. It was simply a mockery. I'll remember this poem. I'll certainly pay you a visit in the future. The gray-haired old man no longer dared to tangle with Long Bai. Leaving behind a ruthless sentence, he shot off into the distance. With a flicker, he was already dozens of li away. Long Bai's voice spread out, "You don't need to pay me a visit. I'll make a trip to Floating Mountain in the future. Tell Sikong Ba for me." Vaguely, Yi Chen seemed to see the gray-haired old man's figure stagger. "You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.